So hello everyone, my name is Vivek Rajaram Patkar. I'm the founder and director of Edu-Master Tutoring Services. We are very pleased to start an interview series called Tutorpreneurs. So this series is very special as we are going to host some bright tutorpreneurs who have done big in this tutoring industry. So here as guest of honor, today we have Jennifer Hannack, who is very hardworking and very talented. So Jennifer, welcome to our Tutorpreneur interview series. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Vivek. I'm honored to be here. Yes, my name is Jennifer Hannack. I live in the United States, and I was a classroom teacher for over 25 years in 4th and 5th grade. And I decided to resign for lots of different reasons and start a tutoring business. And so I serve elementary and middle school students in reading and math.
Can you please tell us about your journey till now in the tutoring field?
Yes. Well, as I mentioned, I was a classroom teacher in a public school. I loved teaching. I loved the students and the families. But over time, the stress of it and some of the politics in public education, along with some personal situations that were happening at home, it convinced me that I needed to resign in 2013.
Yeah.
So I then spent some time as a substitute teacher for a few years just because I missed being with the kids. And I missed the people that I taught with. You know, they become kind of like family over that many years. But I still felt like I needed to use my teaching skills in a different way somehow. Yeah. So I then decided, well, I'll start the tutoring business. And there were so many kids that needed help, and there just weren't tutors in our area. So that's why I started.
Oh, so you are the guiding light for the area. We can say that.
I like to think so. I hope so.
Yes. And just as you mentioned, the politics, it always affects the good people. The bad people play with it so nicely that even they teach, the children are happy, they are not happy, it doesn't matter. Always the good people get the hit in the politics, in the corporate world or the school, wherever. It's very difficult to cope up with such things. So now, what was your thinking process when you started your tutoring journey? Like what were your thoughts?
Well, at first, I guess, like I said, what started it was when I would have parent-teacher conferences, and so many parents would say, are there tutors around? Can I hire someone to help them? And I just didn't have a good answer for them. I didn't have anything really to offer them, and I couldn't do it because I was teaching full-time and I had kids at home. And so that's really what the impetus was for me to start. There also weren't, not only were there not private tutors in the area, we did have some tutoring centers, but they were very expensive. And so I wanted to offer an affordable option for parents that focused on where the kids were, not just a program that I was using and putting kids into, a one size fits all, but I wanted to figure out where are the gaps in their learning, what are their strengths, and let's work with their strengths to fill in the gaps. So that's the model that I wanted to start with.
And is it working now, fully functional?
It is fully functioning, yes. The kids are really doing well. It's a lot of planning. I mean, it's not without its challenges also, but there are pros and cons and challenges and delights in everything that we do. So,
yes.
And for me, working one-on-one with kids, I had a classroom of 25 to 30 children for so many years, and that has its own things that are great, but one-on-one I just love it.
One-on-one is actually the best thing. Means you can affect that child's mentality directly. Like it's on us being the tutor, it's on us what seed you want to row into that child's mind. Like suppose I feel teaching is the world's most powerful profession. Like we can create anything. Means anything in the sense we have humans. If we create a student who has means is just little bit lacking of dedication and all. Once he likes the teacher or the tutor, the students really are means they go to the last mile to make the teacher proud who his best teacher is, and they don't think, I don't know why kids are so sweet, like they go miles and miles and they say, oh sir, you want us to go some more? Do you want us to walk some more? So this is actually a very fulfilling journey, I would say, what I have observed in my tutoring journey. It's not as long as you and as experienced as you, it's very short than you, but this is what I have also enjoyed. Now I am very interested to know that what are the lessons that you learned in the start of your business which have been very instrumental in helping you grow and reach where you are now?
Well, when I started, despite having many years of experience, the fear of failure was almost paralyzing for me. I was completely overwhelmed at the thought of starting a business. I knew that I could teach and I knew that I could make an impact with kids, but the business aspect of it, for me, that imposter syndrome where, I continually told myself, what do you think you're doing? You don't have any experience in business. You don't know what you're doing. I just really had a very unhealthy mindset. And then as I got connected to other people, even in other industries, just through networking groups or, I just didn't even know where to reach out. I wasn't networked with other business people or the corporate world, or I only knew education, but I soon found that that's sort of a universal thing, that many people were feeling the same way. And so at least I didn't feel alone in it. And so I started to, start learning some strategies, some coping things. I think the most important lesson I learned, and this came through my husband, who is an entrepreneur, and also some friends, that failure probably is going to happen. And it isn't the end of the world. If you're failing at something, it means you tried. And so you do things afraid. Our friend Max from our group that we were recently in, something that he said stuck with me. And he said, we fail forward. And so we keep moving forward in spite of the fear, or in spite of even having some failures. So I had to really wrestle down my perfectionist personality that, if you plan enough ahead and you work hard enough, that you're never going to fail. Well, that's just not true. So that was probably the biggest lesson that I've learned.
Actually, the thing you told about imposter syndrome, I am currently going through it right now. It's like something, it feels, because just recently I have started a batch of students. So I'm going through it and it feels to me, are you teaching good? Like I'm question myself, even the children are enjoying. I just question myself, are you enjoying, means are you teaching correctly? There is something less that you're doing. I keep telling myself something like that. So in the morning, I saw a very good video which said that all the people in the world go through imposter syndrome. Like yearly, there are few days, like a few days of the month, like few seasonal. Everyone, like even Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all of them go through this. So it's just like whenever it comes to us, with like imposter, when we are afraid to face something, or we are just telling something of negative towards about ourselves, we should just say that, okay, it's that phase of the year when I will be thinking like that, because it is going to happen year on year. It's not like that we are facing it for the first time. So can we move on to the next question, Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah. So my next question to you is, do you think, is there anything like a good time to start tutoring business?
Well, I do believe that things happen for a reason. And so I think this is an individual question. For me, it was the right timing. I was at a place in my career where I needed to decide, am I going to keep doing this for the next 20 years? And can I? Or is it time for me to pivot and reinvent myself and do something else? Because I was too young to retire and be done with working. I didn't want to do that. And so I think each person sort of has to figure that out for themselves. I, however, don't believe that my business would be as successful as it is today if I had pushed it sooner or waited too long. So I do think there's an opportune time for things, to seize an opportunity that comes. I think it comes to us for a reason. For me, it's faith. But I find that when I'm able to seize an opportunity and let some things go, let that old thing go and pivot and turn to the new thing, that's when more opportunities come and more doors open. And so then it sort of confirms my decision, like, oh, I'm on the right path here.
Actually, this was really a very honest answer. This is what I also align with. But sometimes what happens is, if I ask people, is there something like a good time to start? They say, no, there is nothing like that. No good time. You should start right away. But it's not like this. I also think that even if I would have started 2 years back, or even if I start after 2 years, we cannot think done is done. We have just started. Like a year back, I think that was the right time, so we started. Now it can be anything. It depends on all the situation, all the things. It, because sometimes you have to push things forward because we are busy with few other things that are very important aspects of the life.
Yes.
So what you said, I completely agree with that. And with agreeing with that, I just want to ask my next question. What were the stakes that you kept when you entered entrepreneurship?
Well, with every decision that you do, there are pros and cons to that. And so the positives for me of entrepreneurship were the freedom to serve my students in a way that I felt was best for them. Being able to meet their needs, being able to develop relationships with them in a way that I wasn't able to when I had big groups of kids, or the relationship is different. And so also having my own business allows me flexibility. While sometimes can be overwhelming, it also allows me to have, just last week, it was spring break for many of my students. So my schedule was a little bit lighter. And I happened to have one day where I didn't have any students, which almost never happens. So I got to call my kids and say, can I play with the grandkids today? And so I got to spend the day playing with my grandkids, which that fills my soul probably almost more than anything. But if I were teaching full-time or, doing the prior job, I never would have been able to do that. And so that flexibility, I continually remind myself, I'm choosing to do this so that I can do other things that are important to me. Some of the cons of it is I am very much extroverted. I love being around people. I love learning new things. I love being a team player and working with other people. And so it can be lonely. But I will say that the best thing I've ever done is to get involved with networking groups or taking, a jumpstart or mastermind class where I get to know other people. So another con for me was a very steep learning curve of the business practices as well as the technology. But, with COVID, I was teaching, and so we had to pivot fast like the rest of the world did. And so that's one of those things where I didn't get to decide the timing of that. That was decided for all of us. And so we jumped into the ocean and, you sink or swim. And so you just keep paddling until your nose is above water and you figure it out. And, I guess the good thing was we were all figuring it out in the whole world. And so we're helping each other out now. And we've got resources I never would have had that not happened. So I'm grateful. I mean, I'm not grateful for COVID, but I'm grateful for people that were willing to swim with me.
You know that your students are very lucky to have you as a tutor.
Oh, thank you.
And I actually, every good tutor has, means he has one teacher who he is inspired from. So I actually had my school principal when I was a small child. So I was one of his best students. So he like devoted his complete life for the well-being of the students. Although the school was in like very backward areas and all, but that person he really worked literally very hard, and all the confidence which I have now or what I'm doing with my life, I just actually want to be like him. He is a retired major army person. So I have actually kept my Facebook profile pic with him only. So after 12 years, I just went to meet him before 2 months. It was like a very good, and that moment is special. Actually, he was also waiting for me for like 3 4 years, because there is some special bond between the best student and their teacher. So was there anyone in your school as a teacher who inspired you to be a teacher?
Oh, that's a really good question. I love your story. And from a teacher's perspective, there is absolutely nothing better than having a student come back and say, you know, you made an impact, or I'm doing this because of something you said or did. And so that's really awesome. For me, I think my teaching, the reason I wanted to teach, I was an oldest child of, and there were 4 kids in my family. We had lots of cousins. I was the oldest grandchild. And so I was kind of a bossy personality. I love to gather them all and teach them and boss them around, basically. So I think mine was a gift that, I don't know, was developed early on, and I just loved doing that. I had lots of good teachers along the way, and a lot of them were ones that had very high expectations of me. I was a pretty high achiever and a rule follower, and you know, if you told me to do something, I would do it. And so, but it was the teachers that pushed me and challenged me that really made an impact but cared about me too, you know. So
That's good. The children, now your students are benefiting with because of your bossy nature at that time.
I try not to be bossy now, but skill I had to develop.
So, Jennifer, coming to the next question,
Yes.
what were the difficulties that you faced or are currently facing in your tutorpreneurship journey?
Yes. Well, I think, you know, as I mentioned before, that limiting mindset was the number one thing that got in my way. I'm getting better at that, but I continually have to, you know, like you mentioned, stay connected with other people so that we can share our hopes and our dreams and our challenges and our joys and all that. The other 2 things that I tend to struggle with is, one is organization. I'm organized, but in a very messy kind of way. So I have a lot of piles and Post-it notes and, you know, things. And so that creates some chaotic feelings within, you know, I just feel like things are not in order like I would like them to be. I think some of it is just personality, and I just need to learn how to deal with it. But now that I'm pivoting to more online, that's another journey of having to organize materials and remember where they are and access them quickly. And so it's just a learning curve. It's a skill, you know, and skills can be learned. So I'm always looking for good organizational tools. And then the other area is probably the marketing, which is related to the mindset. You know, in order to market yourself well, you need to believe in what you're doing and be okay with who you are and all of those things. And so I think it's all goes hand in hand. But again, that's a skill, and skills can be learned.
Yes, they can be learned. It's a very wonderful thing about the skills that they can be learned.
Yes.
Now, what were the initial reactions of your friends and colleagues and clients as well when you started tutoring?
Yeah. Initially, when I was still working and I had this kind of cooking in my mind before I resigned. And so I pitched it to the teachers in a staff meeting one morning. And I just said, I'm kind of thinking about this thing. What do you all think about it? And the positive reaction from everyone was, oh my goodness, it is so needed. I have kids that could really, I have students that really could use this, and my own kids could use it. I really think you should do it, Jenny. And that really helped me. The fact that my peers believed in me and felt that helped my confidence a lot. And then when I started it, just seeing the confidence of the kids grow, and the parents are just looking for help. They don't know what to do. They know their kids need help, but they don't know how to help them. And that's a very hard place to be as a parent. And so I just really got so much positive feedback because their kids started to show growth pretty quickly. And that just kind of, the momentum grows, then the kids feel more successful, so they take more risks, so they learn more, so they're more successful, and it creates a really good pattern that parents love and I love, and so we all win.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for all the people involved in it.
Yes.
So now, what are your future plans? Like, are you thinking to go a solo player, or are you thinking to make a good team and then work? So are you going to pivot your business model more?
That's a very good question. That's the spot that I'm in right now. I have hired one person, and she's great, but I am really wrestling with, I don't know if I want to really grow it and add people, because then you become a manager of people,
Yep.
as much as or more than you are teaching kids. I mean, you can do both, but I just really need to have balance in the season of life that I'm in. And so it's that mindset thing. I think, okay, I'm going to hire people, and then, and in the United States, I don't know if this is true all over the world, but it's fairly expensive to hire people, if you're going to really do it well. And so you have to weigh the pros and cons. Currently, I'm feeling like, I think I might just, because this employee is a retired principal. She's actually one of my former principals, and she's amazing, but she also has other goals in her life. And so she doesn't want to do this full time. So I don't know how sustainable it is with her. So right now I'm feeling like maybe I just want to keep it myself, but then I have to figure out other revenue opportunities, so that means making content or other options. I have to get creative.
Because once you reach to a certain level, we as a human being always think, okay, when we have reached a level, we say something more. We want something more. So as I am managing currently 7 people team is there with me. So it's sometimes it actually is a very difficult task to handle out. What actually happens is, sometimes the child is not attending the class. He says, sir, I am not able to attend the class. Please tell the teacher. Teacher says, I am going somewhere out. So we have to tell the children's parent something, because the teacher is not the face of the business. It's us who are the face. And they are not going to blame the teacher, or the teacher is not going to blame the child. All the fingers that are going to be pointed at you only, because you took the responsibility. It's like entrepreneurship. This is like whatever wrong anyone does in the entrepreneur, in the industry, in your own company, you have to clean it up. I personally feel that rather the entrepreneur's job is to clean the things. How better he can clean all the bad things that have happened. It's his ability, and that ability, if he develops good, he can go 2 miles, because he will be hiring people to do some work, some job or the other job. And it's really gets sometime I just hold my head and sit down. What shall I do now? Then it's okay, because this is the life that I have chosen. It's not that someone enforced me on it. So I can't just run away from it. It's
Yeah.
my choice. So if you have if you are feeling that you want to have your own team, you can look forward with us. We can collaborate, and it's like that we will be giving two demos, like two free demo classes, one to you and one for the child. If it's a great fit between, if you like the tutor, we can hire the tutor. It won't be like in US it will be a very costly contract. Here we can manage it out very nicely and very effectively. So even if you get some inquiries which are out of your niche, or you don't want to take it, or you're full, so please let us know, because we are starting a referral program and we can talk it out. It will be actually a very good thing, because
Yes.
I am actually thinking other people, what they do is they give one-time referral fees and they just part ways with the tutor who has given the referrals. What I am thinking is to give them a referral of every hour that is being taught for a year time, I guess I was thinking. So whatever is there, how much number of hours the student is being taught through the platform, certain percentage which will be mutually discussed between the tutor who is referring and the company organization end. So it will be given to them. At least I'm thinking for a year or so. And this is only strictly based to this tutors from US, because you can the paying balance can be managed out here.
Yes. Yes.
We
That sounds
are,
really intriguing, Vivek. I like that idea.
and how much do you think is the correct referral percentage that should be offered?
Per hour?
Uh,
Or
just per hour, or a flat rate, or just we say one time fees or something like that. How
for the
do you think?
tutor? For the
Yeah,
tutor or for the family?
for the tutor who is giving us the referral.
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably have to think about that.
Well, I was thinking about 10%. Will it work out good?
10% of what you charge the family?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Well, that would depend upon what you're charging the family, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Which is different in the United States than I would imagine it is in India. And so, yes.
Yes.
Gosh, Vivek, you caught me off guard there. I would really have to think through that. It's interesting because I was meeting with our two friends from our Jumpstart class, Vicky and Connie, and we were talking about other companies that offer referral kinds of things. And that's a new idea for me. So I don't know, but it might be worth looking into how other people are doing that. I know both Connie and Vicky are looking into that. I'm completely full, so I'm not looking for referrals right now, but they are. And there are different structures on how they do that. Some of them have an upfront fee. Some of them, it was so new to me that I really would have to do some more digging, but
I just wanted to let you know with the audience as well who will be watching this. So hi,
yes.
folks, we have a very good referral program with us.
Yes. No, I think I think it's really a good program. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see how you
Yeah, it's
decide.
actually a new thing, and we are in the method. Means the idea is still in my head only. Like, how exactly are we going to make it work for everyone to run it smoothly and all? So I think TutorBird can help us a bit in that, like using the TutorBird platform. But
Yes.
I just think that if we let other tutors come on our platform, they'll just mess around. Some messy things can happen. So I'm just little trying to get a structure, make a structure. So once it is done, we can just let everyone know about it. So now here we come to our next question.
Yes.
So we all do mistakes. So have you done any mistakes in your tutoring journey that you regret right now?
No, I'm completely perfect. No, I'm teasing. Yes, I have made mistakes, as it turns out. I think, excuse me, itchy nose. I think I wish I could have had more confidence at first. I just really, I know I keep coming back to that, but it just really is. And I don't know how it's not like you can take a pill and get more confidence.
Yeah. I
But
wish it was like that.
yes, but I really think my number one mistake was spending too much time, taking too long, beating myself up for too long before I decided, you know what, this is ridiculous. It's time to get going. Stop these thoughts and move forward. And other mistakes, I think I tried to be all things to all people to start with, rather than figuring out what my niche was. And so I started out to be too broad, which helped in the beginning because I was able to get clients. But if I'm honest, even right now, because I'm in person and trying to pivot to online, people have a lot of expectations about what I will and can provide for them. At the same time, I'm trying to narrow down my niche. And so those are sometimes difficult conversations to have, like, well, I'm no longer doing that anymore. So I think if I had been more clear on that from the beginning and just trusted that there is a market out there for the niche, I wouldn't be in this situation right now. But, you live and learn.
Well, I would just like to correct, I would just like to add one more sentence to your last sentence. When you say that I'm not doing anymore, but please continue that I know a person who can do it for you.
Yes, exactly. Now I know people that I can refer them to. So absolutely.
Yeah. So did you ever feel giving up in this journey? Like, were there any moments like this that you just said, no, I don't want this? Did you feel
Yes.
any time like that?
Yes, I had many days like that. I still have a few. I don't have as many, but when I started, it was almost every day I felt that way. I just felt overwhelmed almost every day for probably a year. I mean, it really was a long time. But I think getting connected to other people really helped with the loneliness factor. It helped me to stop comparing myself. That's another trap that I find myself getting into, is I think, well, I'm not doing this, or I'm not that as good, or, but, my husband actually reminded me, he said, Jenny, you're comparing yourself to everyone else's gifts and positive and good things that they're doing, but you don't see you're not seeing the whole perspective of who they are. Everyone has challenges and weaknesses, and so we can't compare ourselves to everyone else's gifts. And I thought, wow, that is really true. And so, yeah, I just have to continually remind myself I'm not alone. I have to stay in my own lane, and do what I'm supposed to do. And then I can, like, as you say, I can refer families to other people who have gifts that I don't have, or who are in a different season of their life, or whatever. So it feels like a lot of self-talk
Yeah.
on a daily basis,
Actually, you have faced it for a year for now. Means I should calm myself that, okay, it's normal, that feeling, because most of the days, not some of the days I feel, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? I keep asking myself, but if you have gone through it, means I am like, what do you call, more convinced that it happens with most of the entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. So there is one more feeling that will smoothen the hardness of that giving up factor. So now, how difficult is it to scale up the tutoring business?
Well, I think for some people it maybe isn't as difficult. I am finding it rather difficult, again, for that same reason of, do I want to manage people, or do I want to be a solopreneur, but then I have to figure out other ways to create revenue. Because there are only so many hours in a day, and kids can only do a tutoring session for so long. And once those hours are filled up, then you need to get creative. And so, I think I'm moving more toward the one-person business. So I'm not an expert on team building, although I love to be on teams. So I can't give a lot of advice in that area. But I do, there are a lot. I'm listening. I'm looking for lots of business coaches, podcasts, books, just really in learning mode about what it means to be a good leader, because those are good skills in life. Even if I'm not managing people in my business, they're just really good life skills to have.
Yeah. And managing, as you said, managing people is like whatever we read. Okay, the books, the shows, we see a lot of them to gain those skills. But each person you encounter is going to have his own different skills, which we will have to check and to maintain. Like, we will have to see, like, okay, if this situation happens, what is he going to do? We have to take care of that. If this situation happens, what is he going to take? So we have to keep in mind about each and every individual who is literally working with the company, because I think that is what is leadership skills, like taking care of all the factors, like predicting or just observing, like what is happening at which moment, like how the person is reacting. So if we just observe that very nicely, I hope it can be a little easier. But most of the time, predicting people, I have observed, is very, very difficult.
Yes.
They
I
behave,
think,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think there's a fine line. I think communication is really, really important. And so that line of how do you communicate what the vision of the business is and get people on board and excited about that, so that they have, a similar vision and a similar want to continue. But at the same time, there are things in a business as the owner or the leader that really aren't appropriate to share with everyone. And so you have to, that's a tension. I think you want to be transparent to a point, but at the same time, there are things that, really only the leader needs to know or should know, or, and at the same time, people are on a journey. And so I feel like if I'm a leader of a team, part of my responsibility is to train people and help people grow in whatever area it is that they need or want. And so that's another hat that we wear as a leader. All good things, but it's a lot of hats to wear.
Yeah. So what is one thing that you would like to tell any new person who wants to, or who is thinking to enter this tutorpreneurship or starting his own tutoring business?
Good question. I think if you are feeling like this is the time for you and it is right for you, I say go for it. I think one of the number one things you can do is start asking questions and start finding people that you can learn from, you can walk alongside, you can get ideas from. And I would say be very kind to yourself. Talk nicely to think about, how would you talk to your students if your student was discouraged or overwhelmed or scared? All of those feelings that we feel as entrepreneurs, how would you help someone else in that situation? And then talk to yourself in that kind way, helpful way also. I guess would be that would be my advice.
That's actually a great advice. So Jennifer, can you please tell the audience again what you tutor and how, if they want to learn from you, how can they contact you?
Yes, so I serve elementary and middle school students. So that would be about first grade through eighth grade in reading and in math. I serve, I do in person. I'm pivoting currently to more online. And so that I can have people from all over the world, really. And I can be reached through my website, which is www.liftofflearningcenter, all one word, liftofflearningcenter.com. So you can find more information on my website. If you're interested in a free consultation, there is a form to fill out on the website. So.
And can they contact you through your email ID as well? Can you please
my
share
email?
that?
Yes.
Yes.
My email is liftofflearningcenter@gmail.com.
Oh, people will surely take lift off from there. They'll get lift from there for sure. So
Yeah.
I will actually put the link of the website and your email ID in the description box, so that if anyone was not able to get it, they can just go into the description of this video and they can connect you through that. And it was a really very much what you call pleasure, Jennifer, talking to you. You gave very honest answers. Like it's not even like we have certain things like, okay, if someone is telling something, mind sometimes says, oh no, I don't want it. My mind is not accepting it. But whatever you talk, without any resistance, it directly went to the mind. Without any resistance, it was accepted by the heart as well. So thank you so much for being on this interview series. And I know and I believe that you will keep inspiring the students which you are tutoring right now and in the coming time as well.
Oh, you're very kind, Vivek. Thank you. I'm so grateful that we met through our class, and I wish you all the best. And I'm honored to be able to have had this interview with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye.